What's up, guys? It is Corey from Super Kami Guru 9000, and I'm really excited because I just got done watching what is possibly one of the coolest anime specials I have seen in years. It was Pokemon The Origin. Now, this was a 4-part miniseries that they made for the big release of Pokemon X and Y, and it's also just a big love letter to all the people who grew up playing the original Pokemon games, like the original Pokemon Red and Green, or as we played it in America, Pokemon Red and Blue. And this special was just so much fun and way different from the other anime series that's been running for the last like 15 or so years. So I'm just going to give you my impressions about what I saw in this special, just tell you about my favorite moments. I need to stress that this special was not subtitled in any way. It was a complete raw Japanese version, so I don't really know what they were talking about the entire time. But honestly, it adapted the original games, so if you grew up with it, you're pretty much going to be able to follow along with the story, and that's what made this so enjoyable. And most of the actual special was filled with a lot of big action sequences that were frankly just really, really awesome. This whole special is just pure fan service, and it really follows the games very closely. In fact, it even opens up with Professor Oak doing his whole intro, telling you about the world of Pokemon, and then you're actually introduced to the main character, Red. And the first thing you'll probably notice about him is that his voice sounds familiar. Well, it's the same voice actor of Naruto, so Naruto fans will definitely enjoy that. But it's just like the games. He wakes up, he sees his mother for the first time. I even like the scene they added where he's watching the TV where you get to see the Gengar and the Nidorino fighting. Kind of similar to the original Pokemon anime series, but still, it's just like in the game, how that's the first thing you see when you boot it up. So just little touches like that made this whole special great. But you actually get to see Red meeting Green for the first time, you get to see their rivalry form, and then you get to see them choose their very first Pokemon, which is a really, really nice event. And already you can just tell the atmosphere of this entire special, combined with the character designs, is much closer to the game and just completely different than that of the other Pokemon anime series. You get to see Red actually catching his very first Pokemon, and just, like I said, when you see the like Rattata running out of the woods and everything, you actually hear that music start to play, the just little stuff like that is just really, really awesome, and it just gave me such huge goosebumps. And then you actually get to see him meeting Brock for the first time, and there's also that really great first battle between Red and Green. You actually get to see them using their signature Pokemon against each other. The actual battle between Charmander and Squirtle is surprisingly intense, especially when Squirtle is literally like biting down on Charmander. It's actually kind of freaky. That's the first thing you'll notice too. The Pokemon battles in this episode are really well animated, and they're a lot more brutal than the stuff that you'd actually see in the other Pokemon anime. A lot of the special goes through a lot of quick succession through the games. They actually show a lot of the major events that take place in them. Pretty much like all the major battles with the gym leaders. You actually get to see the full battle with Brock, which is actually very exciting. And you actually get to see him going through meeting Misty, Lieutenant Surge, and even the second half of the episode gets really, really important when they introduce the Cubone and Marowak story. And I love that they introduced this into the story because it's like they don't really get into that too much. The mortality of Pokemon. I know that's a weird kind of morbid thing to bring up, but I'm glad that they're addressing it because that was one of the most important parts of the original game. You actually get to see everything. They even show like the Mother Marowak getting clubbed by the Team Rocket member. It happens off screen, but it's definitely implied. And then you actually get to see them go into the Pokemon Tower and meeting the Ghost and using the Sylph Scope. It's all there. It's just like in the games. And there's even like the stuff afterwards. Red gets the Poke Flute. He meets Snorlax. He gets to go against all the other gym leaders. And it all eventually gets to this penultimate moment where he gets to meet with Giovanni and has a huge battle with him. And this is the moment where Giovanni decides he's going to stop working with Team Rocket and he's just going to be basically a badass Pokemon trainer again. He sort of lost his passion for it, but it's because of Red that he's decided to become a trainer again. And this whole battle here is intense as shit, and I just want to say that Giovanni's Rhyhorn is a friggin' beast. But the battle here is awesome. Even though Red keeps throwing out all of his different Pokemon, they all keep getting destroyed. I do love when he sends Hitmonlee out, though. He gets this one nice kick against Rhyhorn's face, which is surprisingly brutal. And the actual battle ends with Rhydon fighting against his Charizard, which is just freaking great. Everything here, just like all the impacts of the hits feel really, really brutal. It all leads up to the Elite Four and the battle with Green, and I kind of wish they would go through the Elite Four a little bit more. They sort of skip over them and Lance altogether. But getting to see the battle with Red and Green is really awesome, especially when you get to finally see Blastoise and Charizard go at it. And wow, I never thought I'd see a moment where a Charizard would just deck a Blastoise in the face. Just, this whole special just makes you realize they could continue to do this forever. But eventually it gets to the point where Red wins, and that's it. And, you know, honestly, they could have ended the special right here. And this would have been, like, awesome. Everybody would have loved this. But they also have to do something to tie this to Pokemon X and Y. And what can they do? Mega Evolution. And this was the part of the episode that blew my friggin' mind. And you know what? I give Charizard a lot of crap. He's not my favorite Pokemon, but he's definitely in my top 20 favorite Pokemon. But after seeing this special, he might now be in my top 10 because of what happens in this special, and of course what's going to be happening in Pokemon X and Y. Now, the final bit of the episode, you actually get to see Red hunt down Mewtwo, and you actually get to see him go into the caves, and he gets to battle with all of his Pokemon. And what I love most about this is he has a large variety of Pokemon. He even has some legendaries. His Articuno gets beaten by Mewtwo. And finally it gets to the point where we have Mewtwo fighting against Charizard. And wow, this is like better than any of the Pokemon movies. This is just friggin' awesome. I wish I could see this type of stuff every week. But it's not going to happen. But still, right here what happens is Mewtwo starts dominating in the battle using all of his powers. What I like a lot about this too is Red is just as invested as Charizard is in the battle. Like, even when Charizard's like flying around and stuff and getting ready to get slammed into stuff, Red will jump in the way to try and catch him. And there's even this part where Mewtwo like sends both Charizard and Red like hurling into this water. And as they're sinking, this is when the big moment happens. Somehow Red finds like this Mega Stone, which is the brand new items which are going to be used in Pokemon X and Y, and because of this, his Charizard can Mega Evolve. Now, a couple weeks ago they revealed that Charizard could Mega Evolve into Mega Charizard. What they didn't reveal, however, is that Charizard actually has another Mega Evolution, Mega Charizard X, and when you see this motherfucker rise out of the water, you are just going to shit bricks. This is the coolest friggin' Charizard form I've ever seen. He goes through a full transformation, he turns black, he has blue flames, he has fire constantly coming out of the sides of his mouth, and he also happens to gain the typing of Dragon as well. It's at this point in the battle that Mega Charizard X just completely stomps all over Mewtwo, and not only does Red defeat Mewtwo, he friggin' catches him. All of this is just proof showing that Red is a way better trainer than Ash. Pokemon The Origin is pure fan service, and it also manages to hype up Pokemon X and Y at the same exact time. And it's a genius idea because old Pokemon fans are going to see this special that don't play the games anymore, and they're going to be like, whoa, my old Charizard can become a Mega Charizard X? That's friggin' awesome! So, from a marketing point, it's awesome, it's a great excuse to have some new animation, and unlike any Pokemon special I've ever seen, this one was incredible. It was basically its own full-fledged movie. If anybody wants to license this and release it in North America, I'd love to pick up a Blu-ray copy of it. I know that Viz has the licensing for all the Pokemon stuff. If they release this, I'll totally get it. Now, it has been announced that there is going to be a dubbed version of this special. I think it's going to be coming out in November. They're going to be streaming it online, so when we actually have a dubbed version, I will do another quick, just smaller review of that one. But this one was just me gushing about all of the cool moments. This was just an excuse basically to see a lot of really cool Pokemon battles, and of course, I'm sure there's a much bigger story to it. Obviously, like I said, no subtitles, but it pretty much follows the main story of the game, and it looks like Red is already a much more interesting character than Ash is. It looks like they get a little bit more into the characterization of the actual people themselves, and the Pokemon themselves are still just really, really awesome. And just Mega Charizard X. I mean, come on. That is friggin' badass. One of the coolest Pokemon I have ever seen. I know it's easy to gush over Charizard and everything, and I have to do it. Look at him. He's friggin' awesome. Oh my god. So there it is, Pokemon The Origins. I really, really liked it. If you guys did have a chance to check out this special, I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. You can tell me about your favorite moments. Who is your favorite Pokemon? And are you looking forward to Pokemon X and Y? You can let me know all about that with your comments below. And remember, guys, before you leave, make sure and give this video a thumbs up. And if you guys want to hear what my top 10 favorite Pokemon are, make sure and check out the video right up top. So, I will see you next time, guys. Super Kami Guru 9000, out.